why did you feel so confident to make such a huge change? Like all of a sudden.
The reason I've been successful is because of my determination and my patience.
Your revenue isn't the thing that should hold you back from doing this. It's, are you going to be so committed and be the person who is relentlessly determined to achieve that? Let go of guaranteed revenue. That is not normal. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to a special guest. Her name is Katie Lepore. She is owner of Emberlin, and she's a client of mine. We actually met at the summit that I hosted in January. And what's really cool is Katie has some wins that she's going to share with you about her business. And some of them actually aren't from ads. Like in a way, we're going to tie it back to the ads you're going to see, but it's actually really special how we've been able to connect and how you've been able to have some really good results, even though you're just getting started. We've also had some hiccups. We're going to talk about all of it because that's just real life. And this is not like, oh, ads are a miracle podcast. This is how can you win? Well, you don't win every single time.
Right.
So anyway, can you tell everybody who you are and a little bit more about what you do specifically?
Yes, I am Katie Lepore. I am a Squarespace website designer. I founded my company in 2023 after a lot of experience in corporate marketing in different scenarios. And I found myself longing for something more in the corporate world. And I loved the part of my job that I got to do the websites. So I really took that on. And it's been such a good experience since then. So,
you know, I love that you are specific with Squarespace. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people are actually scared to niche.
yes.
They're like, I'm so worried if I say this, you cast everybody else out. And I'm like, and you really hone in on the people who want what you have to offer.
Right. And I think one of the benefits of, I work specifically with female service providers on their Squarespace websites. And so while I don't niche within that, like within an industry specifically, and a lot of people in my industry do that, I think that female service providers and Squarespace is specific enough.
I do too.
And what's amazing is I can specialize in a platform versus diversifying across many platforms. You'd never become an expert. And that's what I'm devoted to being, is a Squarespace expert.
I love that so much. So you have to tell everybody this saga. Like even before we clicked record a minute ago, I was like, turn the microphone on. This is so good. Because it's just such a good reminder of the big change that you made in January. And the reason I got emotional before we recorded the episode, when I was like, Katie, stop. I cannot cry off my makeup that we just did. But the reason I thought it was so special is because you made a really big jump. Like you really took a leap of faith. So tell everybody what that leap of faith was. And I also want to know, why did you feel so confident to make such a huge change? Like all of a sudden.
Yeah. So a little bit of backstory. I was working at my corporate job for over 2 years while running my business. And so I was working in the mornings, at night, on the weekend. I would leave my lunch and I go sit in my car and post on Instagram. Any second I could, I was devoting to my business. And it was hard. And what I've found is that the reason I've been successful is because of my determination and my patience, that it didn't happen for me overnight building this business. And that had I not had the patience and the determination to keep going during all those times that I didn't want to, that I wouldn't have found the success now. So I came to Summit. I was like, I'm going to go all in. This is going to be my room of my ideal client. So I'm going to get that VIP ticket and I'm going to go. And so, I showed up there and I had no intention of buying your program.
Did you think about it beforehand? Like, were you like, I think
I was like, I don't know how much the offer is going to be. Like, I knew about you. I'd been following you for years, listening to your podcast, but I didn't know how much the offer was. And so, I had just had a baby not that long before that. So I was like, it's just not the time to invest in something.
Right.
And then I went to Summit and I was sold to. And I called my husband outside, paced the sidewalk and was like, I think this is the thing. I think it's the thing that I need to invest in this year. And we both prayed on it that night and decided that if I was going to do this investment, that I had to quit my 9-to-5 because I needed to go all in and actually be able to devote my time and show up every single week to your calls and implement the things that you were teaching me so
Yeah.
that I could master
Yeah.
ads. And so we made that decision. I think you had even voice memoed me the next
I
morning
remember.
about one of the concerns that my husband and I had. And that
Tell everybody what the concern, like what was y'all's hesitation initially?
because I wasn't officially at that like 6-figure business mark yet. And I had kind of disqualified myself. And you were like, I don't remember exactly how you put it, but you said, well, that's not true. You can join my program if you want to invest in yourself, And I felt like that was really important. So
The way that I think about it, and I feel like I actually remember what I said to you, and it was like, your revenue isn't the thing that should hold you back from doing this. It's, are you going to be so committed and be the person who is relentlessly determined to achieve that? Because I have people that come into the programs with multiple 6-figure businesses and they're not willing to do the work. They want it to be magic. Their mindset isn't great. And I was like, if you will just be the person that will do this, you will get the result.
Right.
Like you will have a 6-figure business. So it's really, because in the way I've structured the business, there's 3 kind of layers so that no matter where you're at, like you can find the path. But the reason I was really excited for you to do the Mastery Mastermind was because you were the person that I could just tell, you're like, I'm going to commit to this. Like I will figure it out. And it's just crazy because you made a big investment in your business and then like let go of guaranteed revenue. That is not normal.
And I had no business investing in your program, especially at the mastermind level when I did. And it has been such a blessing and a leap that I needed to take for myself.
Yesterday I was meeting with my Melissa, who spoke at the summit.
Yes.
She was my client, and then I became her client because she sold me on how good she was with operations. And she just goes over and over and over again, and she says what you just said. She says, I had no business paying for this. And yet now she's at over $750,000 in revenue in less than a year from that investment. And it's like, that's why I say, I don't care what your revenue is.
Right.
Are you the freaking person that will just go all in and be relentless and learn a new skill? If so, you freaking belong. And so that's why when I hear someone say, I have no business doing this right now, I'm like, that could be the very reason that you should.
Right.
But it's just, Katie, it just says so much about you and who you are that with a baby, you would leave a full-time job. And so you're losing, like if you look at money was leaving and you were adding a new expense. And then tell everybody, because we all want to know, what are the ways that the ads have paid off for you so far? Because it's been about 5 or 6 months now.
Yes.
So what are the ways that this program and ads have paid off for you so far?
So specifically, I began running my ads almost a month and a half after the program started in the end of January. So it was like March timeframe.
Can we pause on that real quick? I feel like people ask me, how much time does it take to get an ad up? And it really depends on how much time you can commit. But I really feel like you need maybe a month or two to get through some of the stuff, just to get the foundation laid. Like you could launch an ad the next week, but it's almost like you don't want to. You want to like do a little bit of work.
Yeah, and I think it depends on where you're coming in the door. I had almost no experience with Meta ads or Google when I came in. I didn't have Meta even set up.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my beginning legwork, like the first month, was getting the proper things in place to even begin to run the ads.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, okay, so you got about a month and a half in, you got your first ads live.
Yes. And so I started with retargeting ads, and then we went to, and Google. And then we went to the prospecting ads after that.
That's right.
And I found success with, I actually launched a website yesterday for the client that found me through an ad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, she originally, so we talked about it yesterday.
What was her business?
So she is a therapist, a counselor
Lovely.
here locally, actually.
Lovely.
Yeah, and so I targeted counselors, therapists, clinical social workers directly.
Isn't that crazy?
And
You can just target people. That's
yes,
awesome.
and you taught me how to do that. And she found me through a prospecting ad and converted on a retargeting ad, and it was a 55-to-1 return.
A 55-to-1.
Yes.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So for people that, I mean, some of you are listening and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what that means, but just in case you don't, basically return, ROAS is return on ad spend. So a 55 to 1 means for every dollar Katie spent, she got 55 back. So that was a bigger one. That's not always the case. What I can't do is guarantee, if you're listening to this, cannot guarantee you a 55 to 1 return. I can't say I'm not surprised because it's not always the case. Sometimes it's a 3 to 1. Sometimes it's a 0 because you are not targeting the right people. But it sounds like that went really well. That's really cool. I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google Ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below, and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. The other thing that I think is like helpful for people to hear is that you have gotten clients from the mastermind.
Yes. So I have booked a client, specifically 2 clients through the mastermind, and then 2 clients through the playbook, actually, who aren't in the mastermind, but they found me through you and the playbook. And then another client through one of the clients that I worked with. So I've already, within the first 6 months of the program, have worked with 5 different clients from either directly through your program or somebody that has referred me outside.
That's cool. And then also because you have your ad set up the right way, anybody that even knew you from the past or knows you now, or even if someone says, oh, go check out Katie's profile, like Katie has it set up in a way that people would see her again.
Yes. And I think be retargeted.
That's right. People devalue that so much. Like, yeah, well, they knew me. They were a past client. I'm like, well, thank goodness they saw you again so they could remind themselves to book you again. It's just that follow-up. So
yeah, I've gotten a lot of comments about like, oh, your ads are so good. I'm seeing you everywhere. And I'm like, oh yes, the Ashley effect.
That's so sweet. It's such a simple thing to do now that you know how to do it.
Yes.
But it's like any business owner that doesn't know how to do that the right way is missing out on just the lowest hanging fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we all want our content to be seen. We are putting so much effort as business owners into getting content out there every single week. And one of the more guaranteed ways that you can get your content in front of the right eyes is by retargeting them.
That's right. So, okay, we talked about good stuff. Let's talk about challenging things because I feel like there's totally 2 sides of it. And what I don't want is for anyone to try to say, yeah, I want to bring ads in-house, either me or my team, and then think, wow, this is just always so perfect, but it's not.
Right.
So let's talk about like an honest thing that you've learned of like a challenge that you've had with maybe some ads that didn't go well.
Yeah, so I had decided that I was going to put on a 3-day challenge, and this is going to be the thing in my business that was going to transform everything, and it didn't. I followed Ashley's program. I did all the things. You know, I had put 2 months of work into making this challenge perfect, like the content and the social media, the emails, like everything that goes into launching something brand new, and I was super excited about it. And then I had one person sign up who was a friend. And I love her dearly. Thank you, Hannah, for joining my challenge.
What was her name?
Hannah.
We love you, Hannah. Thank you for buying the ticket.
For buying my ticket. And so I invested a couple $1,000 in running my ads, how you suggested, and it didn't pan out. And I'm still looking at the data. This is very fresh and figuring out, you know, what was it? Was it my messaging? Was it my landing page? Was it the targeting? But you know what ultimately it did for me is help me to realize that maybe this wasn't the right thing.
Yeah.
And it was really the first full failure that I would consider a failure in my business. And it just taught me so much. And it's not all for loss because now I know I can look at the data from the ads and see what to do better next time.
Yeah.
And I still have all the content I created that I can repurpose in other ways. So,
and the way that I like to think about it, and I admire you for being able to be like, hey, this didn't go as well. This is not good. But there's always some takeaways. So when I looked back at it, because of course, like as an ads coach, one of the things we look at is we say data makes decisions and decisions make dollars. And I think people confuse it and say good data helps us make good decisions that make us make lots of dollars. And I think it's actually sometimes data that isn't, whatever the data is, it's actually all good data because it helped us make a decision. Maybe we don't want to like go this direction.
Right.
Now I will say, we did look at it together, and one of my biggest pieces of feedback was like the title or name of it.
Yes.
And so a little bit of backstory, because Katie is so good at websites, one of the things that she had called the challenge, like the homepage
refresh.
And I think this will be helpful for people too, Katie.
Yeah.
It's like I told Katie in the kindest, most loving way, I said, that isn't like sexy to me. Like even I know many people that I've referred to you even, and I'm like, hey, would this have appealed to you? And they are a client, and they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know that someone who actually was a client, would be a client, would not be attracted to this one thing. So here's the thought behind it. When we create something, we think about the naming of something. It's so small. But even this morning, one of my clients, she actually owns I'm actually hosting my son's birthday party there. She owns Ready, Set, Fun in Atlanta. Yeah, Meg. So she was like having me look at something today, and on her website, it says the Ready, Set, Fun shop, because she has a separate shop and it's all balloons. And my immediate gut reaction was, I sent her a message this morning. I said, Meg, is there any reason we're not calling it the Ready, Set, Fun balloon shop? Because it's all balloons. And I'm like, that clarity and that one piece of specificity just changes the game. So one thing I said to Katie is I asked her, I said, what do people get when their homepage is refreshed? Like, what's on the other side of that? If your homepage is so powerful and so strong, you have immediate trust, immediate credibility. You're proud of the brand that you have to offer. People are more likely to act and convert. I'm like, it could be the convert more secret, the one thing you could do. And it's like having a homepage that just communicates it so well. So it's these little nuggets of, yes, we may not do a challenge, or there may be a point, who knows, down the line where we're like, hey, let's refresh and let's rethink about the messaging and what we put on there. And you're getting more testimonials. I mean, we could have some video testimonials on there.
Right.
There's just so much more goodness. But like, we would never have thought about this or even had a plan to think about it for the future if it had gone exponentially well the first time.
Right.
We wouldn't have asked questions.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think something else, which I always tell people, which I feel like you know, is even when something doesn't go well, if it was the right people, which if you did your, I feel like we looked at your audiences and I loved your targeting. So I was like, I don't know that it was the targeting. It might've just been the messaging. But what's cool is Katie got all these people to her website, and all of those people will get retargeted too. And you even said this at the beginning of this episode, you've been kind of following along for a little while. So there's some people that from that bunch might be following you around for a while. And when they are ready to pull the trigger, they're like, I want Katie to do it.
Exactly.
So some of those delayed gratification, but I'm so glad because I do feel like it's so true that if someone can't tolerate, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What did you tell yourself in your brain to like not just get so defeated and be like, I hate ads just because this one like campaign didn't go so well? Like what did you have to tell yourself?
Well, I think this goes back to that whole perseverance and determination thing, and knowing that my ultimate goal is to not have to go back to my 9 to 5. And I'm not doing that. And so what that's going to entail is me enduring some pain. And there is always growing pains in any business. I've seen that in the corporate world, and I've seen that in entrepreneurship.
Shoot.
And I had to endure a little pain in order to grow. And, you know, you always talk about your root system before the fruit system. And I have been I've growing my roots, you know, and yes, I've seen some massive success really recently, which is so amazing. I'm seeing some fruit of all the roots that I've been growing, but I'm still continually growing roots, right? Like a tree doesn't stop growing its roots. And
No,
so
it doesn't.
I'm still like,
That's
that
a good
is
point.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop growing roots.
No, the roots are still growing, and I'm going to produce new fruit later. And this is that to me. Like, I am growing roots that are going to eventually show me the fruit. And I don't know what that fruit is yet, but I'm going to figure it out. So
Yeah, because you're the person that figures it out.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So you said you're booked out this month and next month?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
May
you had
and
your like one of your biggest months or the biggest month so far?
Yes, within a month of taking the leap and investing in Ashley's program, I hit my first 5-figure month, which is so exciting for me because with a one-to-one service-based business, the amount of money I can make is based on my time, especially being a single team member at this point.
Right.
So I was limited in my capacity when I was doing both. And now that I have freed up capacity, I have time to work in my business. And one of the things I was thinking about this morning is that, a lot of people talk about, and what happens in the service-based industry is that we have time when we have no clients. You have the time to market your business. And then you have all these clients. So then you don't market your business, and then you find yourself 2 months later with no clients. And so you are on this roller coaster of feast and famine. And what ads can do for me is allow me a little wiggle room in those times when I'm super heavy in my client work, that my ads are marketing for me.
They're just going, yeah.
And it's not that I don't still need to market in other ways, and I can just let all of it caution to the wind. I still need to do my marketing, and I have a little more wiggle room and flexibility because my ads are working.
It's so awesome. It's the best feeling.
Yes.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I thought it could be cool if you could just and I know we didn't talk about this, okay? But if you were to give 3 things that when you look at someone's website, you're like, God, I see this over and over again. I feel like these 3 things are important, and maybe some people know this, but maybe they don't. What would some kind of go-to default website tips be for a business owner or even a service provider?
Okay. So
she's ready.
She got it. I'm ready. I got it.
What you got?
I think right now, and something everybody is talking about, is this trust recession. And the trust recession. And trust is hard to come by because the online market, everybody's being sold to something all the time.
Right.
And so it is vital that you have testimonials on your website. They're prevalent and they're everywhere.
Yes.
They're not just on your homepage, and they're not just on your services page. They're on your about page and your contact page. They're everywhere.
That's so good.
And one of the things I find specifically, I help a lot of DIY. People go from DIY to a professional website.
Yeah.
And they clutter their navigation with things that aren't vital. And you
Talk to me, Am.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And they do it and then they change it and then there's no focus point.
Yes.
Yes.
It's distraction from the important stuff.
Yes.
And it's not saying that you can't have a blog or you can't have a portfolio. There are other places within your website to put those links in the footer, throughout the page. It doesn't matter. But the main navigation should be super clear. It should have very clear action to your services, to your contact. It should be easy.
So good.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
then that third thing would be clear CTAs.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this in just making the buttons super clear and actionable. The words that are on them should be actionable. And I think that's what people lack. They might say learn more instead of buy now or book a
Sign
call.
up, contact me. Like there should be an action word in that call to, it's called a call to action for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
People default to things like learn more. And while that's not bad, it's not going to necessarily lead to a clear path to conversion for people.
Yeah. Someone's had let's chat and I'm like, what about what? Like, I don't have time to, what are we chatting about? I need like a quote and a demo.
Right.
So I think
Get
that's
a quote.
specificity. Yeah.
Specificity.
Give me the
is key.
numbers. That's helpful.
And yeah. And we can go on all day, but one thing you talk about a lot is the 3rd grade language on your website, that people need to just be clear and understand what they're getting from you.
So good. Katie, I love this so much. Is there any last final thoughts you have for people listening as they think about ads or as they think about their website? Anything else that comes to mind?
No, I think we covered it. I think you just have to continue to just invest the time and
the resilience and the I think that is like your determination and your resilience and your honestly persistence with things is why you're so successful. So if you're listening to this right now and you are that person, you can do anything. You could learn how to ride a motorbike. You could learn how to fish. You could learn how to do ads. If you are the person that is like willing, that has that grit that Katie does, you can do literally anything. So
literally anything.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you. I'm thankful for you.
And by the way, if you want to learn ads, the Win with Pay Dash Challenge is happening soon. So make sure that you go to Ashley. You can click the link below this video or this podcast episode, or if you're listening and driving, keep your hands on the wheel and go to ashleybrock.com/challenge, because it all starts at an event, just like how I got to meet Katie. So click the link. I'll see you soon, and I'll see you on the next episode.